Empire State of Baseball, episode number 145 on this Monday, October the 20th, 2025, airing on Instagram, X, and YouTube, and as always, powered by StreamYard. And gentlemen, and that's it. Joe, Tom is in the house. Corey Favs is out on vacation. Shout out to Corey Favs from afar. It's a trio tonight for us here at Empire State of Baseball. 3 episodes remaining of this season 4 of Empire State of Baseball. And I believe at this point, Joe, Tom, I don't like to speak on behalf of either of you. I feel like the full grieving process is over for us Mets and Yankees fans. And I think we're just chomping at the bit right now. Just get to the offseason and start to see what these general managers have in play. Tom, your thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, I typically, when a season's over for my team, it's tough to keep watching for a little bit there. But I actually watched a little bit of Mariners Blue Jays the other night. Kind of got sucked into watching one of those games, and we're looking definitely forward to the off season. But hopefully, I don't know, maybe we get a fun. I think either way, we're gonna get an interesting World Series, right? We're gonna have the Dodgers, who are the class of Major League Baseball, and then a franchise that either has never won or hasn't won in almost 40 years. Players that haven't played for a World Series really, so it's going to be an interesting, I think, World Series regardless. The Dodgers are probably still going to stomp either team, but at least we'll get some interesting games, I think, out of it.
Joseph, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing well, despite the football disappointment in my life. Listen, you gotta say, aside from the Dodgers just steamrolling the NL, the AL has been very entertaining start to finish. Game 7 tonight. That's what you live for. You live for Game 7s. It's probably going to be the only series that goes 7 because I don't see either of these teams standing up for 7 games against the Dodgers. But
no.
Game 7 tonight, Mariners, Blue Jays. I'm rooting for the Mariners to pull it out. I want to see the Mariners at least attempt to knock off the Dodgers and win one. They've never won one. It's a downtrodden franchise. The Blue Jays, I think, are going to pull it out. Those bats are hot. They have the star power. When push comes to shove, I like the Blue Jays a little bit better in this game. They're at home. I think that's a factor. Toronto is a very loud place in these sorts of situations. So I do expect the Blue Jays to win, but I'm kind of rooting for the Mariners.
Chat, what are we thinking? Mariners or Blue Jays? Who's going to pull out Game 7 tonight? Only the 10th Game 7 in the history of the American League Championship Series. So it's going to be an exciting one over at the Rogers Center. Shane Bieber opposing George Kirby, who's going on the mound for Seattle. Who do you guys got? Mariners or Blue Jays? Let's check out the chat, see who's joined us today. We got 20 people already in the building. Jacob Petruzzi, of course, usually the first. Smack that like and sub button for the fellas on your way in. Mike Pars, let's go. Almost World Series time. Like and subscribe, everybody. Susan reposting the stream. Really appreciate you, Susan. Kristen, I can't believe the Mariners allowed this to get to a Game 7. I mean, we've seen it before, fellas, where a team that took that 5th game only has two chances to win that deciding game to get to the World Series. Remember, Tom, the Yankees had that opportunity back in 2017. Could not win either the 2 games in Houston. And then later we found out why they could not. But it was a shame. But yeah, I mean, here, the Mariners still have life, even though the Blue Jays may have the momentum, even though they may have the home field advantage. Seattle still has as good of a chance as Toronto to win today's Game 7, the deciding Game 7 to move on to the World Series. Hector's in the building. He says the Blue Jays. He's got the Blue Jays in there. Jacob says none of the above. I mean, that's not possible. Literally not possible. Let's go. Chris,
it could be the Yankees music and all. And here comes Aaron Judge.
Oh, the old Money in the Bank. Little Money in the Bank cash in on this Monday night.
That's Frank Sinatra's playing.
Over White Van Dark Tints, Rich. What are we talking about here, Chris? What are we? We talk about the glasses. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm waiting on an order of contacts to come in. I'm sorry, folks. I didn't want to go blind here. Like I can't even see. Like I don't even know what these letters say right behind me. That's how bad my vision is. So sorry, we couldn't pull that off. Chris, what's up, ESP family? Thanks for having me on last week of Sierra Show. I had a blast. Hope my performance didn't disappoint. No, it did not, CK. We did appreciate you on the Clubhouse. Make sure to check out that episode of the Clubhouse on YouTube. But make sure to check out our friends over at Rollback, Thomas.
Yeah, definitely. As we're heading into the fall and then into the winter, Rollback has the stuff to keep you warm. And as Rollback kind of continues to evolve, I've been a fan of them for a long time. If you listen to the show, you know that. Really started off in the golf game of polos and that sort of stuff. And they continue to evolve with more and more stuff, more and more outerwear, just kind of warm stuff, not just, particularly the moisture wicking type things. Still got that stuff too. That stuff's still fantastic. But if you're looking for some nice new stuff as we get colder, some sweatshirts, it's kind of sweatpants, that kind of stuff, casual, comfy things, Rollback has you covered. Promo code TWASPL15, get yourself 50% off your first order.
And of course, Rollback brings you your rundown for this episode, number 145. We kick things off with postseason push, get through some of the notes. Of course, there's one decider out of the championship series. We know the Dodgers are waiting on the winner of tonight's Game 7 between the Mariners and Blue Jays. So we'll preview that as best as we can. But again, we're going to just be keeping an eye on this Mariners Blue Jays game, which is about to get underway. Julio Rodriguez about to step up against Shane Bieber in Toronto. Then we have the final edition of Defining Moment. It's up to the players to figure out, the players in this case is the trio here, to try to figure out the three missing facts in a great all-time Yankees or Mets moment. That'll be later on tonight. And we get to cap things off with the Bears of the 2025 season. So y'all are aware that we've been doing this New York Strike Exchange bit throughout the year. And we've been ranking our bottom five Bulls and Bears. Well, at the end of each year, we always like to look at who was the top 10 Bulls and who was the bottom 10 Bears. So tonight we start with the bottom 10 Bears that encompass the entire 2025 season, not including the playoffs. We reveal that list later on tonight. Bulls of the year will come in about a couple of weeks' time. And that's what we got.
Never guess who's the number one Bear is. You guys have no
it.
idea who's the biggest disappointment in New York sports.
My starting hint is he plays for a New York baseball team. We'll start there. But let's get over to the postseason push. And like I said, there was already one deciding victory, and it was in a big way. And listen, folks, I get there's a lot of people out there who do not like Shohei Ohtani, mainly because of the coverage of Shohei Ohtani. Mm-hmm. But when he has a performance like he did over this weekend in that Game 4, how do you not hate what Shohei Ohtani has done for this game of baseball, Joe?
Yeah, he's listen, he is a unicorn. He has the ability to be a shutout pitcher. He has the ability to be an MVP offensive player. And when it all works, you see exactly why he got $70 million a year, despite it being spread over 20 years instead of 10. And that performance, I mean, there have been other performances in the playoffs. Ford's perfect game. Halliday's no-hitter. Somebody on the Phillies, I think, threw a complete game shutout and hit 2 grand slams at one point. So there's been a bunch. But as far as like this, the last 2 decades, that was probably the most impressive single game performance, in my opinion, since Roy Halladay threw a no-hitter in the playoffs. That's why I qualify that as that level. So for me, it was special and it just emblematic of what the Dodgers have going on, right? Like Ohtani can beat you on the mound. Ohtani can beat you with the bat. Then they can throw Snell and Yamamoto. I mean, think about it. Of the 4 games they played, their starting pitchers completely dominated 3 of those games. Yep. Regardless of what the offense is doing, completely dominated. It was a total mismatch. We knew the Brewers weren't in the same league despite their record this year, and the Dodgers just proved it. The Dodgers proved what Blake Snell can do and why they signed him, regardless of the fact they only pitched half the year, and he normally only pitches half the year. They showed you why they spent $325 million on Yamamoto and why the Mets and Yankees also were willing to spend $300 million on Yamamoto. They showed you what justified them giving $70 million a year to Shohei Ohtani. They showed it. And at the end of the day, the talent rises to the top. The Dodgers just have more talent than anybody. There is no comparison. None of these teams can stack up against them. And they're sitting at home watching the Mariners and the Blue Jays beat the living crap out of each other, knowing that they're going to beat the crap out of them.
It's something else, Joe. And if you really think about it, if you want to look back at that World Series team in 2024 compared to this team, they won primarily. Well, I mean, they won primarily because they were capitalizing on Yankee mistakes and hitting in opportune times, but it certainly wasn't their starting pitching. I mean, yes, Yamamoto was fantastic last year, but you remember their rotation in the postseason? Their rotation was Yamamoto, Walker Buehler, and Jack Flaherty, and they were throwing a bullpen game. This is a complete 180 of what they did last year to win baseball games because their pitching has been fantastic. I don't have the number in front of me, and that's a bad job by me. I think the starting pitchers across these 4 games combined for a .63 ERA. And that's incredible. You're going to win every game. Like, you're absolutely winning a series with that caliber of starting pitching. And then you bring in Shohei Ohtani's offense. And of course, the stalwarts of Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Kike Hernandez. This team's insane. Yep. And it's as if, when we get into this ALCS Game 7, updates and I guess somewhat of a preview with our own predictions here, it's almost like a waste of time because whoever's winning this is getting feasted to the Dodgers. I mean, it's going to be early Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah,
and it just, there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen to baseball over the next year and a half, heading into a CBA. And the Dodgers are the shining example of why everybody thinks there's an imbalance in the sport. But, I saw this point online before. The fact of the matter is Betts was a Red Sox, right? Like Snell was a Tampa Bay Ray. Snell was also a Giant. Ohtani was an Angel. We could go down the list. Freddie Freeman was a Brave. If these teams had paid these players what they're worth, the Dodgers wouldn't exist the way they do now. If Freddie Freeman re-signs with the Atlanta Braves, I'd be willing to bet that the Yankees won the World Series last year. That's the kind of. We also have to talk about that problem. The Dodgers are doing it bigger and better than everybody else, but the pieces they are getting to assemble this super team have come from the fact that the teams who had these guys, Tyler Glasnow, didn't want to pay them. Ohtani's the exception. We get that. Yamamoto is the exception, but Betts, Freeman, Glasnow, Tanner Scott, and Kirby Yates, they went to the Dodgers because the Dodgers were going to pay them. So as we're going into this new CBA and everybody's pointing the finger at the big bad Dodgers, the Dodgers are doing it within the rules. It's just the fact of the matter.
I also want to think these players also probably saw the Dodgers as a cheat code for a ring.
For a ring. I mean, it is kind of built like an NBA team. It really is.
I was just going to say that. It's kind of like what we see in modern day NBA of kind of creating more super teams. And listen, there's a lot worse places to live and play for than Southern California and the Dodgers. I mean, minus you have to pay all those state taxes. But other than that, I mean, you kind of want to, hey, you can just have your cake and eat it too. You can get paid the most money, play for one of the top 3 franchises of the sport, and you're going to win because the team's that good. I don't see a way they could really discourage that other than putting a salary, talking salary cap a lot, but who knows if that's even going to be possible. That's going to be off-season agenda next year for us to discuss the CBA. But one other thing, Joe, I know you were saying like how they built this team. Another big thing that they did is that they've traded prospects, right? Mookie Betts was they traded guys, and now granted they were able to extend them, but they're able to trade. They trade their young assets for major league players, something I've been wanting the Yankees to do now for a while. Instead of these guys who come up and then they disappoint, trade them, get something right now. Trade me Spencer Jones right now, because the Dodgers would have traded Spencer Jones, and they would get someone who could play guaranteed, as opposed to maybe a player down the road. And that's something the Dodgers have done.
But also the Dodgers had some luck along the way. I mean, they have gotten the best out of Max Muncy. You know, when people forget about the fact that he was a utility infielder for the Athletics, and the Dodgers turned into a power hitter long ago with Justin Turner. We remember what Justin Turner was when he was a New York Met. Mm-hmm. I mean, he became a monster with the Dodgers. They've gotten the best out of Kike Hernandez, especially during this time of the year. They've got the best out of Tommy Edman, who was essentially a throw-in piece in a 3-team trade last year. And the Dodgers just know how to do that. It's a well-run organization. Yes, deferrals, whatever you want to say. Like, they're still doing this within the terms, within the rules. I'm sure this is something that's going to get addressed next year, come the CBA. But the Dodgers are a juggernaut, and I just don't see anybody knocking them off. And it's funny, Joe, we had a conversation earlier, and I'll take this in a completely different way. We talk about the starting pitcher. We talk about how great all 4 starters were. Yamamoto, Ohtani, Glasnow, Snell. Fantastic rotation. Yep. Don't you think suitors that have probably a quality, somewhere in the range of a good to great rotation, look at the situation with the Detroit Tigers and say, man, what if I can add Tarek Skubal to the mix of this and compete with a rotation like the Dodgers? It really is going to become an interesting topic of this offseason after this whole contract fallout here between the Tigers and Tarek. You got to think that maybe a team that's right there on the precipice feels like, you know what, this may be the guy we need to go all in on to really add to what we got going on.
And if the Tigers aren't going to pay Skubal, people think, the trade for Skubal is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. It really doesn't have to be wild. I mean, case in point, look at the Juan Soto trade for the Yankees. They got 1 year of one of the best hitters in baseball, unarguably. They traded some assets, but nothing insane. They didn't trade any of their top prospects. And Skubal's the same thing. It's going to be 1 year of one of the best pitchers in baseball, and it's probably going to cost you, it's going to cost you 3 or 4 good pieces, but probably not even your top. So it's going to be interesting to see who steps up and if it becomes more of a bidding war. I feel like Soto didn't really turn into that. Soto was the Yankees kind of made the move. Didn't seem like a lot of other teams are in on it.
The only thing I would push back on, Tom, is that at the time, I would say Soto was a top 5 outfielder in the league. Tarek Skubal arguably is the best pitcher in all of baseball. Yeah. So I think it's still going to cost a team a king's ransom.
I think you could have argued minus Aaron Judge, Juan Soto was the best hitter in baseball, though. And him, Ohtani, and I mean, I think you're a little bit splitting hairs there of how good Soto is.
Listen, but the thing is, there's a scarcity of
pitching. Got a score update. It is 1-0 Mariners. Josh Naylor with an RBI single scoring J-Rod. Seattle's up 1-0 here in the first inning.
There's a scarcity of pitchers, and particularly top line starting pitchers. If we look at the top 10 starting pitchers, the list that we did, half of them ended up hurt this year. Yep. So I have no doubt there's going to be a very large list of suitors. I think in the Dodgers case, the Dodgers are probably going to be interested in Skubal because they're interested in everybody. But at the same time, the Dodgers don't need pitching, emptying the farm to get another pitcher.
Dodgers don't need anything.
Yeah, I don't.
All
think
their pitchers
going to be their
injury prone, though. Because last year they won the World Series, but they won it with just scraps of starting.
And they're back though. But here they
are.
They're
back now. But I mean, do you have faith in Blake Snell and Glasnow lasting a whole season? Like I don't.
Yeah, but you know what? It's one of those things. I'm just at some point there becomes a level. Also, as a match. The Tigers are going to want pitching back. I just looked at the Tigers' top 10 prospect list. They have one pitcher ranked at number 10. Everybody else is position players.
Flaherty going to enter free agency. Mine's going to be a free agent next year.
Yeah, I looked at I actually have the Dodgers up right now, top 10 list. they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 7 guys in the top 100. Not a single one of them is a pitcher. So I think there's a little bit of a matching issue, probably what to the Tigers need and expect as a return. I don't know if the Dodgers right now fill that mold. I think the Mets, I think the Red Sox, and I'm not saying it just because I'm a Met fan, but there's a real need. The Mets have top tier pitching prospects. And the other thing about the Mets, and I was looking at this the other day, of their top 8 prospects, they're all in triple and double A. The Tigers the Tigers want to win. They might have to trade Skubal at a necessity because they'd rather get something for him than nothing if they know they can't re-sign him. But they're going to want something that keeps them in the hunt now and going forward. So that's also the question of when you look at a team, I think the Red Sox are a good match for them too, because I think the Red Sox have a lot of young guys that came up, performed, or can perform on an immediate level. So and they obviously want more pitching. So the question is, does a Tolley or
Garcia,
go in a deal like that they did for Crochet? I don't know.
Now, I don't want the Yankees to get into that business, but I would not necessarily count out the Yankees pitching farm out of that as well. They've been very impressive with what they developed. Yes, a Cam Schlittler would have to go in a deal of this sort. You got to be willing to piece with him. Carlos Granje, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, Ben Hess. Like, you got to, to do a deal like this. The Tigers should not be, and this is kind of like where I differ with Tom. The Tigers should not be getting a cheap package for who I feel is probably the best tradable pitcher right now as we speak. And I know, Joe, we mentioned Justin Verlander from years ago. There was another pitcher you had mentioned, and I said,
Corbin Burns,
right? Skubal now is better than those 2 pitchers then when we were having those kind of conversations. So the Tigers are going to ask for a lot, and I don't blame them, because this could be a guy that could be a difference between making your team great to making your team a World Series contender. So be very interesting.
Real quick, easiest way to do it then, we mentioned him for a second there, the Garrett Crochet trade last year. So the Red Sox got Garrett Crochet from the White Sox. The White Sox got Kyle Teal, who's the 25th overall prospect at the time, Braden Montgomery, the 54th overall prospect at the time, and Chase Middleroth, who was the Red Sox 11th prospect, and Wilkeman Gonzalez, who was their 14th. So 2 top guys, and then 2 kind of filler prospects. So and yes, Skubal is better than Crochet, but I don't think it then means you have to double that package. I think the package is not going to be as big if they truly are that far apart. It's not going to be as big, I don't think, as we think.
What a weird play in this game. It looks like Josh Naylor intentionally interfered with the throw to first base on the double play attempt. That's got to be interference.
Well,
he jumped in the air to hit to block the ball with his body. They're calling a double play. Wow.
Third base.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Listen, okay. I agree with Tom. I don't remember how many years of control did Crochet have. He had at least 2 or 3 when he went for that. And so you're talking 2.
No,
they signed him. They signed him immediately after they made the trade.
Right. But didn't he have 2 years of control? He wasn't going to be a free agent this year.
I believe he had 2 years of control. Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing. When Verlander got traded from the Tigers, he was sent for Astros number 3 prospect, number 9, and number 11. And 2 of those guys ended up in the top 100 the following year. So I think that's where you look. You definitely need a top 3 or 4 prospects. You probably need a top 7 prospect and then somebody else. And in Skubal's case, and I said this before, there might even be a major league caliber player that they might want in return. I brought this up with the Mets in a theoretical trade. They may take a guy like David Peterson and say, hey, I need a pitcher. I need a guy who's going to pitch 170 innings, and that's going to do it for a lot cheaper than Skubal is to keep them competitive. They might ask for a guy like that. I don't know. I think we're just getting started in this conversation. But it's going to be interesting. He is, at the end of the day, to me, he's the best pitcher in baseball right now, right? Like, and I like Skeens, but here's the other thing. Skeens has never pitched in a high-pressure game in his life.
No.
Outside his major league debut. Skubal, I have seen shut the door in the playoffs multiple times.
That game one in the wild card round was insane. What do you have? 14 strikeouts? I mean, crazy stuff.
So he's battle tested. And so that's what the contenders are going to look at him and say, I know this guy can help me get over the top because he 100%. Showed that he could do it in the biggest moments. So absolutely. I think, like I said, Mets, Red Sox. I don't know if the Astros have the prospect capital, but I imagine the Astros are going to be in on it. I think there's a couple other teams that are going to be really interested in signing. Cubs should be. They should be.
Yeah.
Baltimore Orioles should be. But we'll see.
We'll see. We'll have more on Scooble over the next few weeks. And then, of course, we have our off-season episodes to really tap into the happenings of the hot stove. All right, let's take a look at some of the chat members here. Ben, big Red Sox fan. I'm going to go Jays, but just want a great game. I think we all want that there. Ben. Li, I'm sticking my opinion on Mariners win the World Series, so now you can bet the house on the Blue Jays. Victor, top-tier pitching prospects. I think it was in line with what the Scooble cost would be. Mr. Name That Yank, Soto wasn't even top 5 in 2023. 8th in OPS, 20th in runs. 20th in runs, who cares? 13th in homers. Okay. I mean, we
find someone who says Juan Soto wasn't
like Eddie, like you weren't super excited when the Yankees acquired.
8th in OPS. We're splitting hairs here. God.
Of course, Joe would say the Mets goes hitman. Never beat the allegation. Now, listen, it's going to be a very intriguing conversation throughout the offseason. But yes, we're in the progress of this Mariners Blue Jays game. Mariners up 1-0 in the bottom of the first inning. George Springer up to bat against George Kirby. And now let's talk about it, guys. What are we thinking? Who's going to pull this out between Seattle and Toronto and move on to face the Dodgers on Friday in the World Series? Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I said it before. I think the Blue Jays today at home, I think when push comes to shove, their offense is a little bit better than the Mariners' offense. I can rely on Guerrero and Springer and and Clement, who's been phenomenal this postseason. I think that they're deeper overall than the Mariners lineup. The Mariners pitching hasn't been as great. Bryce Miller's been phenomenal, but the Kirby and Gilbert haven't been that great. No. So Kirby's on the mound tonight. He's got about 7 ERA in his postseason. So I'd be very nervous. I could see a quick hook for Kirby if he gets in trouble. And I think at the end of the day, I think the Blue Jays going to pull this one out despite being down 1-0.
Tom?
I think the Blue Jays offense is just relentless. We talked about it in the Yankee series. They can beat you so many different ways. And it feels like everyone talks about how great the Mariners starting pitching is. And on paper it is. And I feel like they also always just kind of shrivel up in the big moment. I'm still going to take the Mariners. I think they have enough guys on offense that can put runs on the board, and I'm gonna trust. Now, granted, George Kirby walked George Springer to lead off the game, so see what I'm talking about there. But I trust him, and I trust what the Mariners have pitching more than what the Blue Jays have, especially the end of the bullpen. So I'll take the Mariners, but God, the Blue Jays lineup is relentless.
Yeah, I mean, I just from the American League Division Series alone, just experiencing that, us experiencing that, Tom, as Yankee fans, that lineup, there's not an easy out to get there. Even their worst offensive player, and Andres Jimenez, is having a pretty damn good postseason. So Toronto is going to be the team for me that I'm choosing here. It's a game 7. Yes, they're down 1-0, but we got a long game here. Jays are not going to go down. And this game, I think this is going to be a crazy one. This may be a back and forth kind of contest for tonight. I do think the Jays ultimately prevail. Unfortunately, as much as I am hate watching over from this side of North America. Now, to look at what's going ahead with the scheduling, because this was an interesting layout. So the Blue Jays, if they pull this off, they actually will be hosting the World Series for Game 1 and Game 2. They have the better record. They have the better seed, so they will be going in on Friday to host against the Dodgers. If they win this game, if the Seattle Mariners win, they will be facing the Dodgers on the road starting Friday. So that's the layout, all those games taking place.
I hate the
Fox.
3-day break. And I know why they did it. They did it to avoid Sunday football. That is the only reason there was a 3-day break in the World Series. But it frustrates me that we're gonna have to wait 3 days. The Dodgers how many days off are the Dodgers gonna have?
Almost a week.
You can't control that, though. I mean, they swept.
They did.
The Dodgers,
that's fair.
The Dodgers, in theory, right? I think their Game 7 could have been tomorrow if that series went 7. So yeah,
but 3 days off is tough. It's a long time.
I know it's like I think Michael Kay has said it a lot on his radio show. It's like tried and true at this point. You play 162 games during the regular season one way, and then the playoffs are just different. It's just everything about it is different. Just the way you manage a team, which is a little bit of an inherent weakness with baseball playoffs, is like you have to have a completely different team. It's not like football. You're like, all right, we ran the ball well during the regular season, but we can't really run it in the playoffs. It's the equivalent of how these games get managed, which I don't know. I think does take away a little bit, but also you said they have to stay away from Sunday, and they want to stay away from Thursday night. It's just how it is. The NFL rules.
The Dodgers won their Game 4 on Friday, so they'll have 6 days of rest until they start the World Series on Friday.
You can look at it the opposite way and say, okay, Friday, Saturday, off day, Sunday. They only have to deal with Monday Night Football because they play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're off Thursday, so they miss Thursday Night Football. And I think Game 6 and 7 would be Friday and Saturday night. So by that standpoint, they're going to maximize the TV markets in those days because they don't have to compete with the NFL. Now, they got to compete a little bit with college football on Saturday night, but a Game 7 of the World Series is going to draw a lot of attention regardless of what the college football game is that night. And I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, that's kind of the takeaway, I guess, there.
As we glance over the predictions here, it was just a bad year for predictions for all of us. I mean, Corey and Joe still have the Dodgers, I guess, to their credit, hoisting the World Series trophy, but just not great across the board. Like every year, just not great with the predictions on our playoff there. But that's your postseason push. By this time next week, we'll obviously be in the middle of the World Series. I think we'll be going live during the middle of Game 3 of the World Series. So good luck to the Mariners and Blue Jays, who still have about 8 innings of play left here, as the Mariners still have a 1-0 lead, and Alejandro Kirk up at the bat, first and second, with 1 out against George Kirby. So Blue Jays have a chance to strike here in the first inning. But let's touch on the Gram. And usually I throw this over to Corey fast, but he's not here, so I'm going to throw it back to Thomas.
Let's talk about Instagram a little bit here. Head over to Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. With our almost 8,000 followers, you could be the 8,000th follower on our Instagram.
And they get a prize?
No, you get nothing, but it'd be cool, and we would appreciate it. Now, what are you going to get over at that Instagram, at that Empire State of Baseball Instagram? You're going to get some highlights from the show, segments, episode previews, stories, reels, and then most importantly, the memes and like the kind of meme reels that Corey cooks up. And Corey's on taking a little bit vacation right now, so I don't know if he's pumping things out at the moment. But he's a lot of really funny stuff that Corey puts together in the lab. Head over there, again, Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. You're going to get some enjoyment out of it, and it really helps the show as well.
That guy, Corey Faz, never goes through what people call writer's block, man. He's just coming out with all these creative memes, even if no matter how good or bad the Mets are playing, if it's baseball season or not. I mean, even throughout the offseason last year, we saw a lot of football a lot of football reels just hitting Empire State of Baseball. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're transitioning Empire State of football all of a sudden. But, no, shout out to Corey Faz. Hopefully he's enjoying the rest of his vacation. But it is now time that we go over to defining moment. Now, Corey's not here, unfortunately, to present his defining moment. But he did send over a question that I will be presenting on his behalf. So any points that Joe or Tom can't pick up are going to go to Corey Fab. It's not going to go to me. Why would they go to me? It's not even my question. So Joe currently in the lead, 32. Tom at 28. Corey 23. And I'm at dead last at 21. So these points really don't even matter much to me anymore. Kind of just done. But here we go. Defining moment. And this is for the New York Mets end of it. And here you go. With postseason implications on the line, the New York Mets jumped out to a 1-0 lead against this Florida Marlins pitcher, which ultimately decided the game as Johan Santana would toss a complete game shutout. In the 9th inning, Santana struck out Dan Uggla for his blank number of strikeout of the game, induced a deep fly out of this Florida Marlins hitter for the final victory at Shea Stadium and to keep the season alive. This happened on September 27, 2008.
9th inning, struck a Dan Uggla for his... So let's see. Florida pitcher. He wasn't there then. I don't think he was there. Dontrell Willis?
Incorrect.
I feel like he's probably in Detroit at this point. I'm just gonna. Oh, man, it seems like a bad game just to guess the strikeouts, but like it's probably my best bet. Can you imagine if it was just like his second strikeout?
Is that your guess?
No, but I think it'd be funny if it's like.
All right, I won't take it as a guess then.
9 strikeouts in 9 innings.
It is 9 strikeouts. That's actually correct.
There you go.
Point for Joe.
I was going to guess higher, so that's fine.
So we're looking for the opposing Marlins pitcher and the Marlins hitter that flew out. 1-1 now in Toronto. Dalton Varsho, RBI single.
Kirby's choking, man.
I said it was start, man. These Mariners pitchers, like everyone loves them, and they've regular seasons, and they just absolutely choke. It's the choker bowl between these two teams.
Unfreaking real.
All right, who's a Marlin?
So point for Joe.
This has to be a bad Marlins team.
Pay
right?
for Joe.
This is bad times, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Mad.
I mean, they're mostly bad. Josh Willingham as the player flied out.
Great guess, but not Josh Willingham. Great name.
I don't know if he's there, but he's there at some point to fly out. Carlos Delgado.
That is incorrect. Not Carlos Delgado.
He's a Marlin at some point.
Oh, he's not correct though. I will try that. Still looking for the pitcher, and still need that hitter. Looking in the chat here, and there are. Yeah, I mean, yes, guys, you can guess in the chat. I just can't give the answers away because Joe and Tom have playoff implications on the line here.
And I don't look at
guys
the chat.
Guess.
Joe does because
I just can't say anything.
Good. Who's a random? Beckett was not there.
No, he's gone.
No correct guesses in the chat.
That was too late
for any of that.
Who's a random Marlin pitcher that was a pain in the ass? I feel like there's a couple of them.
God, so this is like bad time Marlins.
It's a bad.
Guys who would be on this team, and I know
Eddie,
this is bad podcast.
I guess Eddie is Mr. Name That Marlin on the side because he did get a correct guess in there.
Who's a Marlin this time frame?
September 27th, 2008, final victory at Shea Stadium.
I've seen the highlight too. I should know the fly out. It wasn't Willingham. It was obviously it's not Uggla because he names him in the thing.
I don't know if he's a Marlin ever. Kelly Johnson for the fly out.
Incorrect. Not
I think
Kelly
it wasn't
Johnson.
Marlon.
And I think he's like
2 Ks for
all
Joe,
around.
2 Ks for Thomas, 1 point for
And
Joe.
1 K for Thomas.
I don't think I
didn't
don't
guess
think
my
it was
2K.
Hanley.
Hanley's probably gone.
No, I think he's still there.
Oh.
I don't think it's Hanley. Who's a freaking Marlin at that time, man?
No, Tom, there's 2 Ks. You guessed Carlos Delgado before.
Oh,
You
I
got it
did
wrong.
guess Delgado.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good call.
I can't guess it, so I got to keep
call,
an
Ricky.
accurate score here. 2 Ks for Joe, 2 Ks for Tom, 1 point for
I don't even know
Joe.
this guy was the pitcher. I'm gonna say Ricky Nolasco as the pitcher.
That is correct. Yeah.
Is
Ricky
it?
Nolasco.
Jesus Christ!
It's Ricky Nolasco. Yep. Eddie got that in the chat. Hitman also.
God,
Ricky
that's
Nolasco. Good
God.
stuff. Good pull. All right, you're down to the hitter, guys.
Mm.
Wow.
I'm gonna say
This is a guy, I will say, this is a guy who kicked around the league. He kicked around the league. Veteran player. If I mention the name, you guys gonna know the name. Has won a World Series, but not with this team.
okay.
Obviously.
Won a World Series, but now that leaves it wide open.
And I'm seeing correct guesses in the chat for that player as well. Good job. Good job, chat.
Just like a grinder, not like.
It's not Ugla. It's not Willingham. It's not Ramirez. It's not.
Come on, guys.
I don't think he's there anymore either. I would say Jeff Conine.
It is not Jeff Conine. And he did win a World Series there.
Actually, he actually did win it there.
Oh,
if that's the right one, that's a tough.
But you know the player, though, Tom.
Is it the one that's been guessed
Yes.
the last 3? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's that's a.
I don't think I'm gonna get it.
Taking it backwards.
Dan Johnson.
Great guess, not Dan Johnson. The answer we're looking for is Cody Ross. Cody Ross. 12-year veteran, World Series champion with the San Francisco Giants. But yeah, he was the guy who hit that deep fly out. But the Mets pulled out the victory, and then the rest of 2008 went the way it did. All right, let's flip it over to the Yankee side. I usually would play a highlight, but for the interest of time, let's get right back into it. Tom has the defining moment, or should I say defining moments?
I do have moments, and before I read it, very important here. You can't just name players. You have to say them with the game. There's only so many players on the Yankees at this time. And if you're just naming guys, you have to say like this player on this date, because I'm not going to accept if you get it the wrong date. Anyway, 2009, New York Yankees won 17 games via the walk-off, the year of the walk-off, the year of the pie. One of those came in an entire series, May 15th through the 17th against, you guessed it, the Minnesota Twins, where the Yankees walked off each game. So on May 15th, this Yankee hit a walk-off 2-run single. The next day, May 16th, this Yankee hit a walk-off 2-run homer in the 11th. And then the following day, on May 17th, this Yankee hit a walk-off homer in the 10th inning to complete the sweep, the walk-off sweep of the Twins. So player and game. You can say 1, 2, or 3 for game, and that's fine.
May 16th, Johnny Damon hit the walk-off 2-run home run.
That is incorrect.
May 17th, Johnny Damon hit the walk-off home run in the 10th inning.
That is correct.
Okay, 1K, 1 point.
May 16th, A-Rod.
May 16th is A-Rod. That is correct.
May 15th, Melky Cabrera.
Melky Cabrera is the 15th.
There we go.
I was going to guess Teixeira.
My next guess was going to be Brett Gardner, but yeah, very, very interesting way to pull that off. The defining moments.
A lot of easy names in that one.
Yeah.
Well, my problem was I really wanted to use a playoff game, but Rich on the ESB NYY account has been doing the top 25 playoff moments of the last 25 years. So any
30.
moment I could think of
Top 30.
was probably Rich has pulled the clip in the last week.
I mean,
so
also, if you're gonna
kind
just
of had to go other
I'll be honest, if you're gonna put anything in 2009 too, like it's not really gonna you're gonna get much past me there. What was your favorite walk-off day? I mean, there's 17 of them, Tom. What was your favorite one?
Of course it was A-Rod's.
I mean, they continue. They did him in the playoffs too. Right, Teixeira had a walk-off homer in the playoffs. A-Rod had a big tying homer in the playoffs. I guess you're gonna say that Teixeira one, right?
It did happen in a postseason game. I think that for sure.
Game one, right? You hit
like it was game 2. So it was the A-Rod, and it's gonna be an upcoming 30 days, 30 years.
And this
30
is why I
months
couldn't choose
NYY. But it was A-Rod's 2-run home run in the game 2 of the 2009 ALDS off Joe Nathan. And then later on in the game, Mark Teixeira hit a walk-off home run down the line, hits the top of the wall and bleeds over the top of it. Epic walk-off.
Pretty sure that was a Saturday night, and we were at a house party, and it was just bananas.
Absolutely. So there you go. All right, so I get 2 points there. In total, looks like so. Joe, you added how many points you added there? You added 2 more, so you're up to 34. Tom added just one. So he's up to 29, and I got up to 24. So I finally actually climbed over quarterback.
Big strikeout by Shane Bieber.
There you go.
Second and third, 2 outs, and Bieber just struck. He had 1 out, but he just struck the guy out to get to
1-1 headed into the bottom of the second inning.
Rebus.
I don't know.
As Chargers do up to the plate. All right, Joseph, let's talk about YouTube. Well, you can go and find all those walk-offs in 2009. You can find the Johan Santana complete game showdown in 2008 YouTube. But most importantly, you can find us over there on YouTube as well. Joe.
Yes, we are live on Instagram and X, but YouTube is our preferred platform. Why? And the Blue Jays are going to get out of this. Why we can interact with you, the chat, live here on the show. So do us a favor, go over to YouTube, go to Empire State of Baseball, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the videos, and tune in on YouTube so you can participate in the chat consistently over there.
All right, let's finish things off with our 2025 Bears of the Year. As I mentioned in our open, it's our annual ranking of the bottom 10 players exclusive to the Mets and the Yankees. And we'll jump right into it. Let's kick off this list with our first trio here. We'll count down from 10 to 8 here. And in our number 10 position is Ryan Stanek. And as you're going to see also, when we did our trading floor, there was an ending value to each of these players. So you can follow along to the ending value as well. He ended with 15 ESB bucks, and rightfully so. And arguably, honestly, guys, Stanek might have been even lower on our list here. 5.30 ERA, 56 innings pitched. This is the pitcher that the Mets had brought back on a 1-year deal. Not too sure Stanek will return to the New York Mets. So the electric arm lands in our number 10 spot. In the number 9 spot is Devin Williams. Now, Devin Williams, for me personally, I don't know if Devin Williams got himself off of this list enough at the end of 2025. He had a great last month setting up for David Bednar, but those 5 blown saves tell the story of the beginning of the season, and not just the 5 blown save, but there were so many times where Devin Williams just was responsible for giving up a lead late, and the Yankees would lose a game because of Devin Williams being in that baseball game. So Devin lands in our number 9 spot. And our number 8 spot is a very interesting one because this is the first time a player with both ties to the Mets and the Yankees in the same year cracks the bottom 10 Bears list. And here we are with Paul Blackburn and our number 8 position, an overall 6.23 ERA in 39 innings pitched. Boys, when we look at this first trio of players here, I mean, kind of amazing that Blackburn made this list here, Thomas. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I think Blackburn, honestly, should be higher on the list because he was bad for both teams. I think that should count for something. I had him higher on my list for that reason.
Yeah, I actually think Devin Williams should have been higher on this list because the
Mm.
expectation was that when they traded for him, they traded for one of the best relievers in the sport. I think Blackburn and Stanek, to me, they weren't good, but the expectation was never that they were going to be dominant players, that they would just eat innings and kind of do their thing. Now, they did it poorly, and in Blackburn's case for both teams, but Williams was supposed to be a guy with a 2 ERA.
Yeah.
Stanek was always going to be a guy with a 4 ERA. He was always going to win games and lose games.
No.
Well, remember, Stanek wasn't supposed to be a high leverage guy when the Mets signed him. They had AJ Minter. Minter got hurt. They were supposed to be Jose Buto. He was stunk and then got traded.
Household name.
So Stanek wasn't supposed to be as prominent as he was featured in the second half of the year.
In all fairness, I was looking at my personal Bears list that I ended up sending to Corey Fabs, who got the end results done here. I actually had Devin Williams 11th on my list. I had him just missing the Bears list, and it more was attributing to his second half of the season. I think if he would have continued that, I think he would have landed on there. But he's on there anyway. Number 9, Devin Williams. So there you go, Stanek, Williams, and Blackburn. Let me throw it over to Tom though to reveal the next trio here as we count down from number 7 to number 5.
Here we go. At number 7 on the list, we have Marcus Stroman. Pitched, got hurt, came back, pitched again. Just overall bad. Got DFA'd by Marcus Stroman. At number 6, we have a player who was actually one of our top 5 players of top 5 Bull of the Year last year, in Sean Manaea, who was stinky. He was bad. I think I said before the season started, you can't rely on guys like Sean Manaea to be cornerstones of your rotation, and I was proven right. Usually I'm wrong. I was right there. At number 5, arguably could have been higher, but there's some pretty bad names ahead of us here. We have Austin Wells. We have Wells, who had a very good summer last year, then cooled off. There were some high hopes for him going into the season this year. And that did not really come to fruition. He ended up actually with a 712 OPS. I'm not saying that's great, but it's not horrible. But overall his on base percentage was pretty low. Struck out a lot. Didn't play great defensively. His framing was good if you look at those types of numbers, but the defensive and blocks and that sort of stuff he was not great at, and that lands him 5th on our list.
It's funny you mentioned Manaea's listing in last year's annual ranking. He was actually number 4 overall in our top 10 Bulls list of the year in 2024. Marcus Stroman also listed number 4, but on the Bears list. So Stroman making back-to-back appearances on the Bears list there. Joe, your comments on this trio?
Yeah, I think the thing with Manaea was he got hurt early in spring. He never put it together. By the time he came back, he just, for whatever reason, couldn't figure out how to be an effective pitcher this year. And when the Mets really needed him, he was part of that collapse in the starting rotation where you just couldn't get a decent game pitched out of him. I think Stroman, we almost expected him to be on this list when the year started. And then Austin Wells. I mean, Austin Wells is a young player. The Yankees are counting on him. And honestly, he showed a lot of regression this season. He still can't hit left-handed pitching. His defense took a step back. He doesn't get on base. He'll hit an occasional home run, but the only thing that saves him from being higher is the fact that he's a catcher, and you don't expect the offensive production out of the catcher spot anyway.
This is an interesting one from Eddie, who's also Mr. Name That Yank. Ignore me if you like. Name the most random mark that played for the Yankees. Well, and while you're thinking of that, I can think of a mark that may show up in our next trio here, Joseph.
Yes. Well, and the ironic part is he doesn't play for the Yankees. All right, number 4.
Mark Leo Jr. shouldn't be on this list. He wasn't good, but he didn't pitch enough. But okay.
Number 4 is Frankie Montas, former Yankee, signed with the Mets. Bad signing from day one. I said it the second they signed him. I didn't understand it. He was awful. In 38 innings he pitched, he was absolutely atrocious. Lost his spot in the rotation when they called up the kids. And then, to top it off, got hurt, needs Tommy John surgery. The only saving grace is the fact that he's never going to throw a pitch for the Mets again. So that's the only thing that's saving Frankie Montas. Number 3 is Ryan Helsley, the Mets signature trade deadline acquisition, and boy, was he awful in 20 innings for the Mets. He had a 7.2 ERA. I don't even know how many games he blew. He got to a point where he blew 5 games in a row for them. And so one of the biggest busts of a trade deadline acquisition, I can't even point the finger at Stearns for. Helsley was just bad. I mean, he used to be one of the best relievers in the sport. Number 2, I actually think he's too high. Is Mark Vientos. Listen, Vientos had a bad year. 233 average, 289 on base percentage. He did have 17 home runs. He did have 62 RBIs. He was bad. He deserves to be on this list. 2, maybe a little bit generous, but the expectation probably contributed that to more than anything.
100%.
After hitting 27 home runs last year, being the guy the Mets were going to count on to reinforce that lineup after Soto and Alonso. And I think that's what leads him to the number 2 spot here.
I know some people in the chat asking where DJ LeMahieu is.
That's a fair.
I didn't put him on my list. He didn't play enough. He was hurt.
That was where I was at too.
He was hurt. He played for maybe 3 weeks, a month maybe, and then he was gone. So
I'm sorry, his 266 batting average looked like an all-star compared to some of the offensive players placed on this list. So
that's why I think no one probably put him on the list, or if they did it, he didn't make the overall list. I argued another thing, Joe. I argued with you about Mark Vientos, about how I thought he was going to regress because he was playing out of his mind last year. I didn't think he's going to regress to this level, but we'll see. We'll see if he can have a comeback in his third year.
Hitman goes, from what I heard, there's no such thing as a sophomore slump. No excuses for Vientos, dogs. But yeah, I mean, the surprise for me, not he belongs on the list. The surprise for me is, when we were getting close to the MLB trade deadline, and there were a lot of relief pitchers traded within the same time period. I'm sitting here as a Yankee fan, like, okay, when are the Yankees going to get it on this mix? The Yankees desperately need bullpen help. When the Mets made the trade for Ryan Helsley, I snapped because I was like, I can't believe Helsley is going to be paired with Diaz for probably the most dominant back end of the bullpen you're ever going to see. And Helsley stunk it up. And it makes it very interesting to what Helsley's market's going to be now. Now that he is going to be a UFA, are teams going to pay him based on what he's done? I mean, he is the reigning NL Reliever of the Year award winner. Or are they going to pay him based off what he's been for the last 2 months? So his market's going to be very interesting, especially for teams that are still seeking back end relief help. And they may try to look at Helsley as a way to get an effective back end reliever on the cheap. So it'll be very interesting to see what Helsley
does. The crazy thing was the last 7 outings Helsley had for the Mets, he was perfect in those outings. I think he gave up like 1 hit and struck out like 13 guys. That's the ironic part. So that's a 7.2 ERA when the last 7 innings were a 0, which is wild.
Wow.
I mean, that tells you how bad he was when they acquired him.
Now there's no question of who was number 1 on this list.
Yep.
Number 1 on this list was a unanimous vote, which is a rare thing to achieve here at ESB, to get Joe, Tom, Corey, and I to agree on the same point. Number 1 there, without a doubt, of the 2025 season is Anthony Volpe. 212 batting average, 663 OPS, a 272 on base percentage. Struck out 150 times. That's a 25%, 25.2% strikeout percent rate. He's an OPS plus of 83. Anthony Volpe, without a doubt, lands on this list at number 1. And it was, you could almost say it was a long time coming too, because there was that argument last year that he could have been the number 1 Bear of the year in 2024. He got saved that year by it was DJ LeMahieu last year, who saved his ass somehow, some way. But Anthony Volpe, yes, he lands here at the number 1 spot, and it's unfortunate. You think, again, this is the New York Strike Exchange, so there's a lot of we put a lot of stock into the expectation versus reality. And unfortunately, the expectation for this kid was through the roof in 2023. And we have yet to see what he's supposed to be. And as far as I'm concerned, this player, I don't know, it qualifies enough to be a major league asset for any team. And we have a fun episode coming up in about a month's time, fellas, called the Off-Season Agenda. For a lot of you who are in the building, kind of know what the Off-Season Agenda is all about. It's kind of like our off-season game plan if it was up to us. And I was already trying to kick the tires on how to get Anthony Volpe out of here. And it's impossible. Because even with the injury,
it's the only way to get rid of him.
Even with the injury news, there's not a team that would take him. There's not a team that would take what you get out of him. He's the lowest in outs above average. The funny part is one of the only people who are lower than him is somebody who everyone wants in free agency, in Bo Bichette. His offensive metrics do not help him.
He is Rich. They don't help him. He is the worst hitter in baseball of the last 3 years. He is worse. He is dead last of qualified hitters. He's the worst. And I know that the injury, and people are going to point to that. And, obviously I would like to see Volpe succeed. Nothing against him, but if people will point to the injury, it's going to extend him. Rich, so I don't know if you have it up there, what his, easy numbers to look at for offensive production is OPS. You have 83 OPS plus. Do you want to guess what his OPS plus was last year and what it was in 2023?
83.
No, last year was 86.
Oh, sorry.
And the year before that was 81. It's so he's basically the same. This is what he is.
Yep.
And I've had the argument. Rich and I have talked about this at work, that I think the Yankees have a lot, maybe not a lot, but a good bit of blame here for, one, refusing to ever send Volpe down, and two, just how they have the approach that they have, and they try to take this kind of wiry, should be a line drive doubles hitter, stretching singles into doubles guy, and then he's trying to hit homers, and that's a bad approach for him. And listen, if he was in a different organization, would he be an all-star? I don't know. I mean, a lot of prospects die out, but I think the Yankees have done him a huge disservice, and he's probably just beyond repair at this point.
Julio Rodriguez, solo shot, 2-1 Mariners. Here, was it third inning?
Top third.
Top three. Listen, I agree with Tom. I think part of this is on the player, but part of this is also on the Yankees. First of all, if he was hurt and you knew he was hurt, not having another option at shortstop on the roster was malpractice. And then at the trade deadline, when you got the backup, when you got somebody who could play shortstop, and not only somebody, you got two somebodies in Caballero. And if you really wanted to go there, Ahmed Rosario can play shortstop.
Yep.
Volpe should have went on the shelf and said, this guy's too hurt. 100%. Done. And then we could have the conversation about how much of this is injury and how much of this is who Volpe actually is. The problem is now he has used up all the leash, where you cannot go into next season with the expectation that he has a snowball's chance in hell of being your everyday shortstop. You can't do that, because then it's real malpractice. Forget the fact that he's probably not going to play the first 3 months.
My fear, though, Joe, is this team, this organization is so invested into this kid that it almost doesn't matter how good Jose Caballero or whoever they want to start off the 2026 campaign with at shortstop is going to be. They could be an all-star. When Volpe's back, he's back at that position, and it's complete malpractice.
Listen, there's a decent, useful player somewhere in Volpe, right? But I think it's more in the utility infielder role, where he could play shortstop or second base or third base 3 times a week and spread around, and you play the matchups that favor him. But the fact of the matter is he is not a starting caliber shortstop in the major leagues. Now, maybe if you move him to second base, his stats look a little bit better playing at second base instead of shortstop. But the fact is, shortstop has to be one of your most productive infield positions now.
Absolutely.
There are no teams with bad shortstops.
Absolutely.
The good teams that perform year in and year out have a great shortstop in the heart of their order.
But here's the thing. Also, and if you can't produce, you got to be like Mason Wynn. You got to be a wizard at shortstop. Nothing's got to get by you there.
Right.
And he's neither of that. So
Rich and I talked about that the other day, and it's going to be part of my off-season agenda, that one thing I want from everyone on the team, I'm sure Joe feels this way about the Mets, is I need you to be great at something. If you're a starter on this team, you need to be great at something. And Volpe is great at nothing.
Correct.
Yep.
And he should also be stealing 35 bases a year, but the fact is he doesn't get on base.
He doesn't get on base.
He's not a good base stealer. He's not good.
He's a good base stealer. He's not as fast as you think he is. He's actually pretty good at the technique of stealing bases. He's just not. He's not a 90, 95 percentile sprint speed guy.
Big hopper. He's a big.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. Yeah,
I think he needs to go to a team, and a team like, let's say Atlanta, right? Where he's going to move around, he's going to play multiple, he's going to play 3 or 4 games a week, and he's going to rotate positions on the infield. That's where he needs to go, where there's no expectation of him of being a top prospect, and he can just play his game. The fact of the matter is the Yankees have to go into next season, and especially with him being hurt, they have to make plans to have a different shortstop this year. And Caballero, again, is another useful player, a very useful player. But if you're going to start Caballero every single day, 162, he's going to get exposed. He's not good. He's not a good enough.
He's going to be starting shortstop, and they're going to wait for Volpe to come back. I don't think there's really another option out there. They're not. It's
you guys got a couple minutes. You guys got a couple minutes to spare here, because we could play. We can have a fun little game right here, last minute game, and almost like a preview to like what the mindset is of these off-season agendas, because I think a part of it is like, yes, obviously we would love to just trade every, delinquent player off this team. But realistically, we also have to think of what other teams are looking for. So I just pulled up roster resource, right? Yep. And this is their shortstops for, right now, this is their current shortstop mix. This is not counting for what free agents are coming and whatnot. Maybe I didn't have it set to the right filter, but this is what we got going on. Royals got Bobby Witt. Mets got Lindor. Orioles got Henderson. Dodgers are set. Phillies are set. D-backs are set. Reds are set. Astros are set. Padres are, I don't know what the Padres ever do, but they got Bogarts, I guess. He's going to be hard to move if they want to try to move him. Athletics are set. Yep. Giants are set. The Blue Jays, well, now they have the Menes there. They could put Clement there. But I don't see anything happening
to free agent
anyway, so that doesn't matter. I'm looking for a Volpe destination. That's my goal here. Cubs are set. Mariners got J.P. Crawford. Is it any better? He's got a
free agent.
I don't even know if he's a free agent or not. So that's another thing. Nationals got Abrams. Braves got Ha-Seong Kim, who I think has a player opt-out. So, that could be your destination right there. Marlins, Otto Lopez.
I'll say this, as you're going down this stretch, there is no team. If Anthony Volpe was a free agent this offseason, there's no team that would look at him as their starting.
No, of course not.
Shortstop. They would look
Pirates.
at him
Pirates got Connor Griffin. They're not taking on a shortstop.
White Sox. He's not going anywhere. There's nowhere for him to go.
He's not going anywhere. Guardians got.
They're gonna
Carson Williams.
They're gonna start Caballero. He is gonna come back in May maybe. We're gonna see what they have with them, and
Where's
then we're gonna run. We're going to run this game again, and we're going to see if George Lombard is going to be the next coming, and we're hopefully not going to be in the same position, but I think that's what's going to happen, and he's just going to kind of quiet quit Volpe.
Did anybody between the two of you guys or anybody in the chat, did anybody see a destination that makes sense for Volpe to go to that doesn't have a shortstop already there locked up, doesn't have a young player locked up, or doesn't have a top prospect already on the way up?
He wouldn't go to play shortstop. He'd be a guy that is signed to be a utility infielder. We don't even know if he could play other infield positions. He's only ever played short. He could play second base.
I'm sure he could, but we've never seen it. He could be really bad there.
But I'm assuming that whatever team would take him would view him in that vein where he spends all of spring training playing second base and third base. They know he can play shortstop at a decent level for a time period if they have to put him there. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to take him as a right-handed platoon infielder off the bench. That's what they're going to look for. So, or to platoon him with a guy, the Blue Jays might be interested in him because if they lose Bo Bichette and they have to platoon with Jimenez, Jimenez is lefty.
I don't see it. Those two.
That might be something, that kind of approach to him, but he can't. He's not going to be a starter.
Guys, none of this matters. He's on the team next year. He's not. Right. He's probably.
And honestly,
so he's not going to play till June.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's not going anywhere. He's going to be eventually on the team next year.
Can I also say this?
Yeah.
Back to the Bears. I don't know who I'd take off necessarily, but I do think that there's an argument that Jason Dominguez should have been on this list.
There's an argument.
Because there was an expectation he was going to be rookie of the year. Not that he had an awful, it's hard to say what's good and bad. He can't field. He didn't get the amount of at-bats that you expected him, but he didn't exactly take the bull by the horns either.
I think what happened to Dominguez is Trent Grisham decided to hit 30 homers this year.
That's the biggest.
Bellinger was so, vital for the team. I hope that Dominguez truly works on his defense in the offseason and becomes serviceable and he is our starting outfielder next year because offensively he's there. I know. Part of his switch hitting, him hitting righty, it was not very good. But I think still, we saw it in the playoffs. See, when was the last time Dominguez had an at bat before they pinch hit him in the 8th inning of Game 4? And he just rips a double. He rips a double.
It's so funny.
I haven't seen a major league pitcher in a month.
So funny.
Just rips a double. He's a really good, promising hitter.
There's a hitting tool there. Honestly, my hope is he kind of just abandons the whole right-handed hitter thing. I mean, the Yankees do anyway. The Yankees don't play him against lefties. So might as well just perfect your left-handed swing and perfect your defense as best you can. Well, Dominguez, and this was kind of called out in that awful presser from last week with Boone and Cashman, that Dominguez is going to be playing winter ball this year. So and the hope is that he's going to get as much outfield time that he possibly needs. So we can work on that part of his game. He definitely needs to work, and you got to hope for the best there because if the Yankees are looking to hold on to that asset, he's going to command the starting spot in 2026. But more on that in the offseason. We'll get there. That's our Bears of the list. Bears of the year list. Ryan Stanek at 10, Devin Williams 9, Paul Blackburn 8, Marcus Stroman 7, Stroman Mania 6, Austin Wells 5, Frankie Montas at 4, Ryan Helsey at 3, Mark Vientos at 2, and Anthony Bag of Shit Volpe at number 1. Make sure to give us a follow on X if you haven't already. At ESP Podcast is the parent account. Give our subsidiaries a follow at ESPNYM, at ESPNYY. Give the trio a follow here at Rich J. Rivera, at JR Pugs, at T. Wospil. Give Corey Favs a follow as well. We'll see Corey for next week's edition of ESB. That will be number 146 on Monday, October the 27th. And it's going to be another review episode. We did it last week with our play rankings. Next week, we're going to do it with our preseason predictions. You remember the full season predictions we did here, Joe, when we went through the standings and we went through the MVPs and all those awards. Now, we know the award season is coming soon. We don't really know officially who's going to win certain awards, but our guesses were pretty damn bad, so it's a good time to actually reveal what we messed up there. So we're going to reveal that on next week's edition of ESB, so make sure to check it out. And that's it for this episode of Empire State of Baseball. Last licks, Joe, Tom, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah, like I said, Game 7 tonight. We'll see what's going on. 2-1 Mariners, bottom 3, 2 outs. So I'm going to be enjoying the rest of this game and see where we go.
I'd like to see the Mariners hold on to get rid of the Blue Jays so we can dance on their graves like they like to do to us.
Shout out to the 100+ who joined us tonight, even with the Yankees season and Mets season's long over. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of this Game 7. 2-1 Mariners at the end of 3. We'll see what happens at the end of 9. And we'll see you next Monday for another edition of Empire State of Baseball. Have a good night. Take care.